Hey, it's me. Not long ago, in a video I said, I'm not going to start by telling you, hey, buy this $400 IEM, that's the real music. Well, guess what? Time has changed, boy. Today, I'm going to tell you the world's darkest truth. That's a $400 headphones is better than $90 one. And to show my gentle side, today's IEM isn't even $400. DUNU's brand new release, the Vulkan2. Spooky time! Vulkan2. Stop. DUNU Audio, a famous Chi-Fi powerhouse. Every time when they drop a product, YouTube is filled with the best, insane, ending game, yada yada yada. Will we change that today? No. And yes, well, we won't tell you today if it's absolute best in its price bracket. What we can tell you is that compared to its standby, the Vulkan1 is indeed a better one. Let's dig in. First, let's talk price. In the IEM world, the $350 to $400 range often the hardest part. Beyond this price, the law of diminishing returns kicks in hard for perceived sound quality improvements. Simply put, upgrading from a $200 IEM to a $350 one gives you a very noticeable leap in experiments. But go much higher than that, and gain gets smaller and smaller. With this backdrop, let's look at the Vulkan2's price tag, $359. And as you know, this price bracket is crawling with strong competitors. You've got a $379 Theo Audio Hype 4, and also a $359 X-Nees Mangrave T Pro. And let's not forget Clinical and Moondrop's darling, the Dusk, which is $399. Vulkan2's $359 tag seems humble, much lower than $400, but it's actually out of confidence. It seems like if you are generally excellent, at least on par with the competition, well, a buyer who hasn't decided which to buy, saving the extra $10 or $20 suddenly become pretty appealing. And when we dig deeper, I think with Vulkan2's entire product strategy is built exactly around this. For example, accessory-wise, which DUNU never disappointed. Here we go, 2 full cases with ear tips, including grip tips, balance tips, DUNU's highly acclaimed SNS tips, and candy tips. Serious commitments, the cable build is also incredibly solid. And to the IEM themselves, I find Vulkan2's design truly unique. First off, its shell isn't resin, but even among all metal shells, it stands out. It's not some perfect geometric shape, it's this ambiguous liquid-like fluid form. 2 resist tuning ports, plus classic handwriting English. Ooh, bravo! You know what is this? This is Ferrari, this is Lamborghini, this is spaghetti! In my opinion, the finishing is just impeccable. And there's one thing need to be mentioned though. The Vulkan2 uses a classic MMCX connectors, not more common 2-pin sockets that you can see everywhere. Except, you know, legacy brands like Sennheiser and Shure. Alright. A true shout out to the classic, you know, I get it. If only the MMCX connectors weren't more easy to failure than 2 pins, I'd actually respect it more. Finally, we arrive at headphone must actually play music segment. Let's talk about the Vulkan2 sound quality. This is Vulkan, the Vulkan2 standby. Since it's Gen 2 upgrades, let's compare. What sonic improvements does it bring over the Gen 1? At first, let me invite you to feel it with me. A sound test! For viewers too lazy to listen or who don't want to watch me swing, skip this part. First, let's try some jazz music. And it's a sound called Chase Waves from KARNEEF. And you know, when come to this price range IEMs, I really don't got much to say. It's just great, you know. It's difference between the styles, I think. Ooh, that kicks is so close. Let's straight to the next songs, which is EDM. It's called Hit Ground by LULU and Kaya. All right, let's try it. Wow. The vocal is super close to me. Okay. All right. Up. Wow, yeah. That's crazy. Oh, you can feel this bounce back. It's very cool. It's very quick. It's so fast. Oh. All right. Give me a break. A little resting time. Verse 2. All right. One more time. Yeah. Fill me up. Yeah. Oh, wait. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's talk about it. For me, the Vulkan2's upgrade stems mainly from the shifting the tuning style. Firstly, the Vulkan2's upgrades from the previous gen's 2DD plus 4BA configuration to 2DD plus 6BA. This translates to more headroom in the crossover and more fitness. You can feel that overall, the original Vulkan's tuning was quite conservative, natural and accurate, yes, but at $300 mark, it feels a bit lack in characters. The bass was somewhat thin, the highs could sometimes get overly bright, the mid-range had the sufficient detail but lacked density. The Vulkan2's biggest leap forwards come first and foremost is the mid. You can clearly perceive a straight-up increase in mid-range thickness and body. In comparison, the already decent Vulkan Gen 1 suddenly seems a bit anemic. The thickness of the base has also been noticeably improved. While the raw resolution hasn't changed dramatically, there is a progress in width extension, enhancing overall sound atmosphere. And thanks to improved mids and better depth staging, let's be blunt, vocals are closer. The high frequency brightness now feels just right, never overly attention-grabbing. Looking at frequency response, while the Vulkan2's bass measured about 4 dB lower than the Vulkan1's on the graph, the improved width extension actually makes the bass feel fuller and more substantial perceptually, not thinner. Crucially, it's less booming. The bass quality is simply higher. Overall, the Vulkan1's curve hugs the Harman target pretty closely. However, it's 2 to 3 dB dips between 2K to 5 kHz and boost around 6 to 9 kHz, plus the stiffness in the ultra-high frequency extension, which above 10 kHz, largely comfort the issue that I mentioned before, overly bright highs and thin mids. The Vulkan2's improvements is mainly come from retuning, soundstage enhancements, and even added 2 BA drivers, so the difference between actually can't fully captured by just looking by the FR graph only. But we can still see the Vulkan2's mid to high transition is noticeably more natural. For a listening perspective, I think the Vulkan2 is clearly better executed. The metallic sheen characteristic of balanced amateur driver is retained, but any coldness is masked by the massive soundstage and rich details. Personally, I describe it as magnificent. It's worth noting that in my listenings, the Vulkan2's mid-range boost seems more pronounced for male vocals than females. For example, when I'm listening to Michael Bubler's, the increase in vocal thickness and body is generally obvious, and this metallic texture in his voice comes through perfectly. While this might sound a little bit gay, but it's feeling good. Overall, the Vulkan2 is absolutely worth a shot. It firmly secures its position in the $350 tier, and within that bracket, it holds a significant price advantages. While its signature remains high resolution and leans towards accuracy, if you primarily listen to hip-hop, R&B, and consider yourself a basshead, it might not be the best fit for you. But for me personally, compared to chasing unique flavors or bass excitement, a product like Vulkan2 will definitely stay with you longer. Alright, that's it for today's video. If you like this one, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe this channel. I love you guys, it means everything to me. Alright, keep exploring, I see you next time.